this is Valerie with MillRight CNC. Today I'm going to make for myself a desktop organizer that's going to hold all my various little items on my desk in a neater fashion than I currently have them. Right now I'm just using a little cardboard box that I'm just throwing stuff into. And it's making me a little twitchy, so I want something that looks nicer. I've got this nice slab of MDF I'm going to use, and I kind of laid out my objects on it the way that I want. I did change a couple little things from the original layout, and you will see that when I go and make this file in Vectric. So without further ado, let's create this file. All right, we got 14 inches wide by 10 inches high, 3/4 inch thickness on that MDF. Our origin point right there, material settings, MDF, all that's good because I had been doing this earlier in here. So I'm gonna click OK. All right, I'm gonna start at the top left with those 3 little holes for my lotions and various things. So I measured the well that I'm going to need for each of those to be 1 1/8 inch, which is already there. So good to go there. Create. Close or escape to get out of that screen, that little menu right there. So then we're going to select that circle. And instead of using the mouse, a lot of times I like to use the keyboard. I hold down Shift and use the arrow keys to move these little fingers around. If you don't hold down Shift, it just goes a little bit slower. It does a little bit less of a step. If you hold down Shift, it goes farther. Anyway, you get the gist. So I'm going to put this right around where I want it. Let's say right there looks good. All right, so I'm going to make 2 more of these and Control C, Control V. All right, that just pasted right on top of the other one. So I'm just going to keep up with how many times I tab this over or use the arrow keys to move this over. So I'm going to hold down Shift. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, that looks about right. Control C, Control V. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And they're perfectly spaced because I did them the exact amount of arrow key movements. Perfect. So next we're going to do my cell phone over here. And I do want it to have a rounded corner because my phone is rounded. So the size for that is going to be 3.5 by 6.25. All right. Perfect. I'm going to do the same thing. Just move her around. Right about there, but I also want it perfectly aligned to the left of this initial hole. So everything looks nice and neat and aligned. So you have to select second or last the item that you want your other item aligned with, if that makes sense. Since I want this aligned with that, I selected this first and that last. I'm going to go to Edit, Align Selected Objects, Left. Perfection. All right, next I wanted a little well for my camera batteries to sit in. I want all of these wells to be rounded. Even though some of this stuff is not going to be rounded, it just is going to look nicer if they're all kind of doing the same thing. And you don't have a bunch of squares in with your circles and all of that jazz. So I'm going to copy and paste, and then I'm just going to adjust the size of this. Going to do that by set selected object size, and I want that to be 2.25 by 3.25. I don't want them to be the same. All right, that looks good. So I'm going to have that go up here. Is about where I wanted it. I, of course, want it to be aligned to the top of this. So I'm going to click that, and then that. Edit, Align Selected Objects, top. Okay. I want another well down here that's going to kind of go all the way across, and that's going to be like for a phone charger, various other things. make a copy and paste of that one. We're going to change the size of this to 9 1/4. If I could type 9 1/4 by 2.5. Oh goodness, I don't like that. I don't know why it did that. So we're not going to do that way. We're going to go the old school way. And just draw another rectangle. So that, what did I say was going to be? 9 1/4 by 2.5. Again, can't type. Perfect. Escape. I'm going to want it to be aligned to the bottom of this and to the left of that. Makes sense, right? All right, we'll do the left first. Okay. And then the bottom, I think it may already be. It was just slightly off. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to do my post-it note little well. And I may end up adjusting some of these if they just don't look perfect, because I just kind of use my tape measure on the surface and kind of went, I won't say I went willy-nilly on it, but I didn't measure everything. You know, I didn't measure with a caliper or anything that precise. All right, so for the post-it, they're going to be, I wrote down originally 3 1/8 inch square, but since I decided I want that all of these wells to have rounded corners, I think I'm going to go up a little bit so that it doesn't get cut off, or my post-its sit properly in that little well that I'm going to create for them. So let's do 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. All right, that looks good. So these are both 3 1/4, so that's going to actually work out really nice. So I want to align to the top of this, so I'm going to select that first and then that. Edit, align, top. Perfect. All right. Now I want to do my coaster, which I had measured that to be 3 1/4 inch round. So I'm going to copy and paste another one of these. And I'm going to make them that size. All right. Perfect. So that's going to need to go up here. It looks like I have some spacing issues. I don't, whatever that is. So I'm going to have to move some things around a little bit. Let's see. These may all need to go down a little bit. These actually can go closer to there, maybe if they need to. I may have to do that and sacrifice a little bit of aesthetic, because now they're not aligned to there, but then at least I'll have somewhere to put my drink. Small price to pay. Okay. Now it looks like last I've got this area over here. I'm going to do another one of these, and I want that to be 3 1/2 by 6 1/2. Sorry, I had to pause and restart because the phone rang. Okay, so this is 3 1/2 by 6 1/2. And I want it to look good. So I may adjust these a little bit, just slightly. I might make this a little bit wider. No, let's just see. Let's just see here what happens when I align it right there. Okay, that's not that bad. So I may end up doing just moving these out a little bit. I want that to be aligned to the bottom sorry, this to be aligned to the bottom of this. Okay. And then let's do that a little bit. Because this is kind of the catch-all right here that's just for miscellaneous things. It doesn't have to be a very specific size. Okay, that looks about like I want it. My lotions are going to go here. My cup holder, coaster, whatever you want to call it, is going to go here. Phone here. That's where my camera batteries go. My post-it notes, miscellaneous here. Pens here. I've got this space right here that just looks kind of lonely, so I may just stick another little rounded rectangle in there for like paper clips or just little things. I think that will look pretty good. I think that's going to just turn out perfect. All right, I'm happy with that. Okay, so I've got my toolpath here, and I'm going to show you what settings I used. I'm using a 3/8 inch end mill, and we're going to do pass depth 0.2 inches, step over 0.15, 20,000 RPMs, 200 inch a minute feed rate, and 100 inch a minute plunge rate. We're going to go over here, and we're going to go 2 passes with this because we're going to cut at a depth of 3/8 of an inch. We're also using a 3/8 inch end mill, so that's why we're going to do 2 passes. So here's how it looks. And now we're going to go see what it looks like on the Power Route Max. Well, this looks about how I want it. I've still got to sand it down. I created 2 things today, this thing and a metric ton of sawdust that I've got to clean up. But let's get to sanding.